Welcome everyone to another episode of Riftwalkers. Before we get right into the action and pick up where our intrepid party left off in dire straits, we're going to roll obligation and story points. First, obligation. For that one, I got a 63. That means that no one's obligation is activated. There's no penalties to strain this session. So now let's go around and roll for story points. And I rolled 1 for the GM pool.
Finn rolled 1 dice for the GM pool.
I rolled 1 dark side point.
I rolled 1 for the GM pool.
I rolled 2 light side points.
I rolled 2 for the GM pool.
And I also rolled 2 for the GM pool.
Hot on the trail of Korvak hissed, the wolves of Ironwood tracked him to the port city of Siro. There they split up. However, something devious occurred. While Bread and Kel were investigating the western communities of the city, a strange outbreak of a plague, eerily similar to the hollowing, that same sickness that scourged Bread all those years ago, broke out and began wreaking havoc among the streets of these poorer neighborhoods. While elsewhere, Sadako, Kayako, and Finn were able to find Korvak himself and intercept him right before he boarded a ship fleeing the city. Now, with Arnor sprinting toward the western districts, where we'll find him now, just coming onto the scene where people are writhing in the street, spewing black ichor, to find Kel collapsed at Bread's feet.
Seeing Kel dying at Bread's feet, Arnor is going to rush forward. Bread, what is wrong? What is going on?
I don't know. It looks like Halloween. Whatever you can do to keep these people inside, don't touch them, but keep them from spreading this around. Bread is going to kneel at Kel and examine her and see if she has also been infected with anything resembling Halloween, like everyone else.
Why don't you do a formidable medicine check? That is 5 purples, and I'm going to use one of these points in my GM pool to upgrade one of those to a red. But I will give you a boost. I'm going to give you 2 boosts because you're intimately familiar with the symptoms of the hollowing.
1 threat.
As gingerly as you can, as delicately as you can, without touching any of this, excretion, you turn her over. You're able to kind of sit her up, stabilize her so she's not choking on this gunk.
Rad.
Meanwhile, Arnor is going around doing his best to copy your movements in this fashion. And you get a little bit of it on you. Just a tiny little speck on one of your hands.
Am I, coughing and spitting up? Or am I, completely unconscious?
Yes. You're coughing, you're spitting up. You are
Okay.
on the edge of consciousness. Barely holding on here.
Bread is going to grab one of the strings from his, wildflowers that hang from his hat and strip the herbs off and treat Kel as best he can, just sort of, wiping this fluid off on, her clothing as best he can as he does this.
I'll let you do another check since this is a very specific action.
Okay.
And this will be daunting, so that's only 4 difficulty, but I'm still going to upgrade one of those to a red.
You jerk.
And you'll still get those same 2 boosts.
3 success, 1 threat.
All right, as you are doing your best to mix this concoction and administer it, it's kind of a slapdash job. You get more of this gunk on you as you are administering this potion that you've just whipped together here.
I do want to make it clear that Arnor did decide to cover up a little bit with a cloak or whatever he could to try to prevent any stuff getting on him while he's trying to keep people inside.
But then you notice something strange, is that it should be having different effects by now. Even on yourself, things should be happening, but they're not. And as this potion goes down, Kel is almost overstimulated, brought back to consciousness in this hyperactive state, and you just expel everything in your guts. Right on Bread.
He's used to it. I don't think he's fazed by this at all.
And are just flush with color again and regain your ability to breathe. Your pathways are all open, blood is flowing, and Bread, you know that this isn't the hollowing then. This is just something concocted to mimic it.
Now knowing that this, that he can treat this and it's not hollowing, I think Bread relaxes immediately, puts a hand on Kel's shoulder, and says, "You're right then."
I think so. Thank you.
"Sure."
Oh, what is this?
"I don't know,
Ugh.
but it's not good." He'll get up and immediately treat as many people as he possibly can, just stripping these wildflowers off of his hat.
Kel is gonna lay on the ground for another couple minutes and try and, like, regain her bearings and, like, calm down a little bit after, like, just violently coughing up everything onto the street.
And bread.
And bread.
Across the city, the alarm bells are still ringing, though the pandemonium in the streets has died down. There's really no one but you lot out here, near the docks, where Sorako, Finn, and Kayako have detained Korvak and his associates.
Sarako will begin tying Korvak's hands with some rope behind his back so he doesn't have to keep him at sword point this whole time.
I assure you that that is entirely unnecessary.
I assure you, this is part of the Ironwood Company Protocol Handbook. Always wrap with rope in a special knot that you will not escape from. Finn, also in the protocol, I believe it says we should alert the nearest office, Ironwood office, report back. It would be good to do so, because Korvak is part of our mission.
1 second, Sorako. We have not yet gotten all of the information out of good Korvak here. Perhaps we could go either under the ship here. I would like to fetch the rest of our associates first, but simply someplace to chat. And then by all means, Sorako, you are free to report our successes to wherever this outpost may be.
Is no problem. We can have very good chat together. Lady Kayako, if you would please go find the others and bring them here.
I'm sorry, dear. I'm a little busy right now, if you can't tell. She says as she pokes the back of the head to one of Korvak's associates with a crossbow.
Well, in that case, I have more rope. I come over and help you. Follow the protocol. And Sorako will go from Korvak, whose hands he has tied behind his back, and he'll start giving the same treatment to the goons, tying them up, making sure that there's no funny business going on.
Korvak just shakes his head and laughs a little bit at this, and he says, "Do you all think that this is not by design?"
Do you think this is by design? Getting caught on your way out of the city?
Oh, no, not mine, I don't mean. You're all still young bucks in the company. I understand. Believe me, you don't have to bother with questioning and tying up. I believe they will take care of all of that for you.
But our question still remains. To what was your intended purpose, originally, before leaving on your own venture?
At that, there is this kind of sharp pop and a little bang, as then a ripple of energy, swirling blue and purple crackling lightning, opens in an ovoid shape just a few meters away from where Finn stands. And 4 soldiers in this, steel and boiled leather armor step out, all of them bearing the emblem of the Ironwood Company. And betwixt them all then is an elfkin woman with this great frizz of dark reddish hair. She's got softer features, but stern eyes, and as she looks over the lot of you, they land on Finn. And of course, you all recognize this woman as your appointed handler, Iris. And she says, "We'll take her from here. Thank you very much, Phineas."
A little premature, I would say, Iris, but... And he glances over at Korvak quickly. But you are the boss. He just grumbles and waves his hands at her to take him.
Premature, is it? Indeed. She strides up to Korvak and will take him from you, as the other guards will fan out and will then take into custody this man that Kayako had at crossbow point, and then whoever else is still remaining on Korvak's ship. Iris then beckons the 3 of you to come a little closer, line up in front of her. and stands expectantly.
Finn goes, not showing any particular sign of reluctance.
Sadako will quickly smarten up his leather jerkin, give it a little tug, the Captain Picard, and then go stand next to Finn.
And Kai will bring a crossbow down by her side, but still has it in her hand, and will slowly walk over to her expected place.
Iris looks at the three of you and says, "You did well enough here, but there are little marks of your personality all over this operation, Phineas. Concerning a windmill, perhaps?"
A work of sabotage by Korvak and his minions.
Yes, and we've already been informed by the city officials here of this false plague in the Western District. Rest assured, more competent armor company personnel are on site. And flashing over to those districts where Brad and Kel and Arnor are, there are similar portals that crackle open down the street, up the avenue, around corners, and dozens of company doctors and soldiers fan out over the entire neighborhood here, doing their best and starting to contain whatever this bug is that is going around. They're going to come up to Brett.
Upon seeing other people arrive, he just begins not shouting orders, but like what he's learned, so that they don't waste any time figuring out what he already knows.
One of the doctors will acknowledge that, giving thanks, and then a second one, who seems to be a more senior staff member, not clad in a doctor's garb, he'll come up and he'll say, "You did good. We can take it from here. I believe your associates are waiting with your handler on the docks. If you'd like, we can transport you there."
I'd like to stay and see it treated if I can.
"I'm sorry, but that's not within your purview."
Red, we have a mission to complete. I'm sorry. They can take care of it. The company is strong and good.
Bread will give a look between this officer and Arnor, and then, knowing that this is not hollowing, will nod.
Very well. He'll address this little kind of contraption on his wrist, and he depresses a small button, and this steam kind of jets out, and it expels this little faded crystal. And then he rustles through a small sack, have this little like cylindrical compartment, and will slot that in to where that crystal was ejected. And then will close his eyes, will mutter something, and then will depress a different set of buttons on this device, and another one of these crackling portals opens up. And he says, "After you, I believe your handler is waiting."
Arnor will go up to Kel, who I believe is still on the floor at this point. Are you alright? And he'll extend his hand.
I think so. Not sure. And Kel will slowly kind of climb to her feet, a little embarrassed about being supposedly like this great warrior, and she's like flat on her ass in the middle of the street, and just kind of get up with Arnor's help and just kind of trudge to the portal with kind of like a low head. And even though her mask is probably covered in vomit or bile or whatever, she'll pull it back up over her face just to keep her face covered again and just keep moving.
We'll go through the portal.
Stepping through, you instantly emerge on the docks, and this portal closes behind you. You see Iris and the other three of your company lined up, and she'll just beckon you over with a jerk of her head.
As they appear, and kind of coming off of Edis's comment about more Ironwood Company associates appearing throughout the city, Finn will say to Edis, You should have listened to me about the dangers of that much usage of void in such close proximity. You throw your lackeys like this throughout the city, who knows? We'll have another accident waiting to happen."
"Well, Finn, seeing as you won't be around to remedy it, I'm already quaking in my boots of what we'll do without you." And she'll give a little roll of her eyes. "Now listen up, all of you. I would like to congratulate you, of course, on a job well done, but I find it difficult, I'd say, given the exorbitant price the company will have to shell out to cover all the costs of this little escapade of yours. You defaced and practically destroyed an ancient burial ground within the sovereign nation of Polar. There's an entire windmill rife with expensive void components, along with part of a private homestead destroyed near the town of Clairon, and not to mention the countless expenses we will have to cover in reparation for the mishap that occurred here. So I understand that it's not entirely your fault." And she'll glance over her shoulder, kind of this narrowed gaze at Korvak, before turning back to you all. "These are operational costs, nevertheless. You all understand that, yes?"
Yes.
I don't understand what we could have done about it.
You could have been quicker, cleaner, and quieter.
Is that why you're here? Why we can't finish our mission? We were to learn.
Your mission is over. You have apprehended the fugitive. Job well done. The end.
We were supposed to accomplish...
Did you have something to say, Arnor? I did not think so. Korvak will be transferred to our main compound when the city sees fit to remand him into our permanent custody. A process, mind you, that will require a veritable mountain of paperwork on my behalf.
We'll be better, ma'am. What is our next assignment?
Your next assignment is to pack up your shit and go home. Your time here is done. We will send you out to track down the next vipers when we know more from this one. And again, she'll just jerk a thumb back toward Korvak.
Do we get the same... He just kind of wiggles his fingers at the... Is she wearing one of these, like, teleportation bands, or is the portal still open behind her?
No, the portals need to be closed because it's chaotic magic, so if it's, like, left unattended, it'll be bad. No, she does not have one of these devices, but there is, like, an assigned mage.
Okay. He'll gesture towards the assigned mage and say, are we to travel back with you all then, or are we making our own way to, cut costs?
Oh, no. Believe me, right now we are working on compact silver, so we'll be using all the void cells we need. You'll be going back instantaneously. I'll arrange for your mounts and steeds to be separately transported to the compound. Should that all be in order?
Aye.
Good, no objections. Take a moment for yourselves. I have a smidge of business and then I will send you on your merry way. And without another word, she'll walk off to where some now city guards and officials have started to come into this plaza and the docks.
Well, Kai is kind of fuming right now because all that Ida said and reprimanded the group, she thinks only applies to these fools that she's with. You can't really tell unless you look at her upper lip, which is shaking right now. But she is going to just firmly turn to her side, and she's going to, before they're transported back to where they need to go, is curious about the ship that was going to leave to Viridian that Korvak was going to be on, and is going to go down in the hole and is going to investigate it.
You are stopped at the gangplank, honestly, by one of these company soldiers. And as you are, you actually hear a little chuckle from Korvak.
This guy.
Not too far away, because he's just like sitting between two of them on this barrel or such, waiting to be extradited or put into jail in Siro or wherever. And he says, I thought you were all upstanding company, men and women. Protocol dictates you shouldn't enter an active investigation. Or perhaps his eyes will fan over the group, with Kai, Brad, Kel, Finn, Arnor landing on Sirocco. Perhaps not all of you are as upstanding as you'd seem to be.
What a jackass.
Sirocco, in response to Korvak's kind of foreboding little words there, says, Oh, and you are so upstanding yourself? You go around in secret, set off big bomb, and now the Masasul over here come back looking like this. And he points over to Kel, who is covered in just bile and vomit and all manner of nastiness. This a very good example you set here, Korvak. Very good. I wish you all a bit more like you, upstanding.
It was a simple... Oh, I should pat myself on the back a little more. Give myself some credit. It was anything but simple to concoct. It was an interesting little bug. Harmless. Really, in effect, perhaps a bout of dehydration after all, but given 1 or 2 days, you'd be fine, even though you'd show, if not perfectly, the symptoms of one of the most dangerous plagues on Vernaros.
Are you responsible for that?
For the plague, my dear boy? Is that what you're asking?
No, for this fake one.
Yes.
To what end?
To what end? I was hesitant to use it, you must understand. And regrettably, it was necessary in order to cover my escape. You were all getting a little too close for comfort, and I had appointments to make It seems now I'll have to cancel.
Bread is like cold fury. If he could kill Korvak here and now, he would do it.
Kel is thinking much along the same veins. Like, very quietly, just like vibrating with anger under her cloak. Just like, if anyone were to look down, just like maybe the slightest twitch in her hand. Like, it's maybe trying to stop herself from reaching for her sword, knowing that she can't kill this guy in front of her boss. But oh man, is she thinking about it.
As Kel's hand is kind of quivering, maybe even ever so slightly hovering above the hilt of the sword.
Oh, there's no maybe. It is 100% hovering above her sword.
She feels a slight nudge to her side, and Finn is there, just kind of gives her a once over, has this like very subdued look of disgust on his face at just the state of her. And then he holds out a flask.
And she's gonna pull down that vomit-covered mask and just chug straight from it, take it from your hand and chug it, hand it back to you, and just pull her mask up. And just the look on her face is just stone cold. There's no expression. She is perfectly masking everything that she's feeling. But if you're looking close enough, Finn, the corner of her eye is twitching just a little bit. She is so mad.
Korvak is just looking at all of you with almost like resplendent glee at this. And he levels eyes with Brad and says, "Tell me then, you believe yourself truly free of guilt? Do you think you're not in the company of murderers and bandits yourself? Ones who would stoop so low as to prey upon the common folk for their own material gain?"
I don't think I am. I know I am.
Korvak, what are you even talking about? We're mercenaries by trade. What does that mean? Of course we kill people. It's our job.
You kill bad people when absolutely necessary.
Who's to say? Iris?
The tenets of the company say. Iris says. Gaumont says. Of course, you follow them blindly, and perhaps you should start looking into whether or not those you take the lives of are truly worthy of death.
Oh, sorry. Like you do?
Oh, you believe myself to be worthy of death. At your hand, do you?
Yeah, considering that I could have just died like 20 minutes ago because of you.
Interesting. It seems you lack the capacity of simple deduction. You see, I said earlier that the bug I released was entirely harmless, barring some mild dehydration. If you believe yourself to be truly in danger, then I guess my goal was completed, and I have outwitted an idiot as yourself.
But the question is why? What did I do to you personally to deserve that?
Nothing.
Because isn't that your whole point? Is that there are people who are more deserving of death than others? Death has no choice. It just takes. There is no rhyme or reason to it. That's the one constant that we have. We die and we live, and that's all we get. So what are you to say that I can decide, or that you can decide, or that Iris can decide? Who's to say? Why? Why even play the game if you don't like it so much? Just leave.
So intimately familiar with death, are you?
Maybe I am. We've all lost people. You've lost people, I'm sure, old as you are, been around. So why? What is the point of all this?
He's quiet for a long, uncomfortable moment. And then he'll just give a little shake of his head and another smirk, and he'll look off into the distance, past the ships moored here, and into the sea, and he'll say, "I do truly wish I could tell you, elucidate things. Perhaps it might remedy much of what is to come. But alas, I made my choice when I abandoned my fellow Vipers. I elected to stay, and they elected to go, to carry out what had to be done. But I would not hear of it. No. And he seems more lost in himself than anything at this point."
And I think Kel is going to take a look at him and realize that maybe he's in over his head, and maybe he's done a whole lot of things and maybe doesn't understand the consequences of them, or even worse, maybe he does understand the consequences of them, and she's just going to turn and walk to the side of the boat just by herself and just look out over the ocean while everyone moves around in the background behind her. And her knuckles are just white as she grips the edge of the boat and just stares off because she is just lost in her own head, just like he is.
Korvak, you've known me since a child. Though we've had limited interactions, you were always kind to me. I do feel like if you did these things, there had to be a reason, but I don't understand why you can't tell us.
There's nothing to tell, boy. And he'll retreat back into himself again.
Kai, being stopped and hearing all these interactions occur, is going to take in a deep, slow breath and let out a massive exhale. And will bring a smile to her face, turn to Korvak slightly, and will say, well, I guess this ruins your plans to go to Viridian. What a shame.
He neither looks at you nor acknowledges you in really any meaningful way.
No comeback? Pity if he's not going to give her anything. That's pretty much all she'll say.
Then, retreating from the city officials, Iris rejoins you at this pier. And she'll give a nod to each of you that she sees, and then call over any of you that have drifted and go, very well, Wooz. Time to go back. Are you ready?
Yes.
I don't think Kel would be saying anything. I think she said her piece for the day and is just kind of coasting everything else. She might nod to Iris if she's looking, but I don't think Kel would say anything.
Brett is remarkably dissociated at this moment. All of the talk of death and blood on your hands has really done a number.
Okay, maybe this is not the right time to ask this, but Lady Iris.
I knew you were gonna do that!
You are very intimidating, but I must ask anyway, okay? Before we came here to this town, I spent a lot of my own money to help out the company, and I am not getting a reimbursement yet. So please, before I go, I can go back to post, to the outpost here, and try one more time to get the reimbursement, and then I come right back. Everybody else can go on it very quick, very 10, 20, 2 hours.
Sorako, we can requisition your money back at base.
Oh no, do not worry yourself. I will send you back without him. It's easier. Sarako, you and I will finish your business here. So, if there is nothing else... And she'll wave the mage over, and then, just with a quick snap of her fingers, direct him to open a portal, which he does so, snappily. The rest of you, all on through. We'll meet you back at the compound in 10, 25, 2 hours. Thank you. Goodbye.
Finn, who was waiting and ready right next to the mage as soon as the portal appears, just goes on through.
Before going through the portal, Korvak is still probably looking away. He'll just say, be well, and be on his way.
We all follow.
As Kel, Finn, Arnor, Kai, and Bread step through the portal, you're transported through a whirling storm, black and silver clouds, bluish purple lightning, crackling all around you, and then with another snap and a pop and a crack, you're deposited on the doorstep to the Ironwood Company compound in the great Fellish hegemony. As the wolves of Ironwood vanish through the portal, Sorako remains behind, exchanging a glance with Iris and Korvak.
So, Lady Iris, we go back to the outpost. Reimbursement, very easy.
I understand this is very important to you, Sorako, but it is not entirely important to me right now. Here, I will send you with these 4, and she'll point to 4 of the guards that came with her, to bring Korvak back to our outpost for now. We'll hold them there while our negotiate his release in full, though it will be some time. If you can handle that in this reimbursement on your own, I have bigger fish to fry with these bumbling officials.
No problem. I go with them, keep an eye on this one, he says, pointing to Korvak. Give my money, meet you back here, and then back to headquarters.
She'll just give you a wordless nod and then start off. The guards position themselves to the front and then behind you as you're kind of left alone with Korvak to saddle up beside him and usher him along. The guards clear a pretty wide berth, both in front and behind, so they're out of, let's say, a whispered earshot, or at least a very low voiced earshot, leading you through the city back to the Ironwood Company post that you'd been at earlier that day. Korvak just gives you a once-over and then laughs a little to himself and shakes his head ever so slightly.
So, Korvak, you seem to be quite perceptive, at least regarding me and my group.
I've known your ilk for a long, long time, even if I don't know you personally. Vipers, wolves, bulls, lions. The Ironwood Company is not shy with its enforcers. Neither my generation, nor the ones before, nor the ones after. Though you yourself are no stranger to a bit of intimidation here and there. Isn't that right? Do I say sir? Is that how you address a bastillero of House Castellan?
That is the tradition, yes. But for a lowly house such as mine, I am willing to dispense with the formalities.
True. One wonders then why use any honorific at all when addressing one such as yourself.
You are not secretly a Dalek native, are you? You seem to know a great deal about the houses and the standing of House Castellan.
I am merely an observant traveler, though I've come to call this country my home the past little while, and as my home, I do hate to see injustices dealt upon it, much like the one I was forced to commit today. Though, as I said, and I'll defend my actions to the grave if need be, no one would have gotten harmed, and no one would be harmed had none of you deigned to intervene. His voice dips into this timbre there that's unlike the Korvak you've seen before. It's menacing, and it honestly sends a little chill down your arms. The rest of your trip through the city will pass in an uncomfortable silence, but as the guards bring you to the post, you've seen this place. It's in shambles. The one guy who's been assigned here is a drunken buffoon. So the guards do a quick mop-up job of sorting things out and putting together a room for Korvak using one of the cells in the basement area where there's a bit of like a training section, a bit of a larder and pantry, and then this area where there are actual jail cells. Though those are sequestered in their own wing, so one can peruse the pantry without, locking eyes with whatever ne'er-do-well is locked up down here. The guards will help Sirocco lead Korvak into one of these cells, and then they'll depart and continue their kind of cleanup job here of the outpost proper. And as they shut the door behind them, now that you're alone, just Sirocco and across this set of prison bars, Korvak, he glances at the closed door and the sound of receding footsteps as the guards tramp back upstairs to clean up the outpost. He looks at you and then stands from where he was deposited and then approaches the bars. Tell me, Sirocco of House Castellan, nobility to its core, how low must one stoop to gain a title such as that in the Dalek Principality these days? Mercenary work, sure. Nothing out of the ordinary there, and the Ironwood Company, to the ignorant observer, does good work. But banditry, is that befitting of someone of your station? Tell me, do the others know your past? Do they know your present? And he'll lean very nonchalantly against the bars, his confidence almost mocking.
Does it matter if they know? What matters is that somehow you know. I am curious as to how one such as yourself would know so much about one such as me, who has gone to such great lengths to secure his current position.
It is very simple, that answer. I like to know the men who wish me dead. But you, Sirocco, if I had one word for you, I'd call you sloppy. I could say inexperienced, foolhardy, stupid, but sloppy, I think, sums it up quite well. You see, in Clairvaux, I lived there for some time, in peace. There was a man, an older gent, down on his luck. He was, though, quite adept with numbers. Cooking the books, as they say. And fell in with a petty gang, pulling off small-time heists and robberies. Few people got injured. Fewer died, but still they were a nuisance, more than a nuisance. They were a threat, and Pola takes threats seriously. There was quite a substantial bounty out for their capture, or their heads, I believe, was also an acceptable provision. Though, word is they were all killed, but whoever carried out the job got sloppy. They missed one old bookkeeper. And you know what he told me? He told me it was none other than their own leader, the one who brought the gang together in the first place, that sold them out, stole their haul, and slit their throats, all for a quick bounty, himself getting off scot-free, pinning the whole thing on some other poor bastard born out of the alleys of Pola, Taylor, and Arvon, this forsaken country that's for so long been trodden over by those who believe themselves better. Tell me, Sirocco, and he just is right up in your face in the bars. Do you believe yourself better? No. And he just turns his head and spits on the ground. Your work is sloppy.
That was Marius on the road then. I almost couldn't recognize him.
A shame he didn't recognize you. Though he heard tell enough to give me warning of your arrival. Tell me, you didn't fell him there on the road, did you? On your way to kill me?
There was no need for that. The decay of age and time will take care of that for me, at no cost to myself. That was quite the story you told, Korvak. I have one of my own. You see, as rumor has it, many, many years ago, when the old gods ruled the world, there was such a thing called intent, where if one was skilled enough, he could make his own will manifest, make his imagination reality. But the spirit of intent lives on within me. I will forge my own reality, and I will not be dissuaded from that.
He stares at you coolly, noting the seriousness in your eyes as his own gaze flits over your expression. No, I can see you are well and truly serious. It is a good story. I agree. Do you think your friends would believe it? There's a question to ponder. Here's another one, Sirocco. I'm a criminal in the eyes of this city, in the eyes of the company. I've food and water, he gestures behind him to the cell, for a good few days at least.
And you know how long city paperwork takes.
I'll be holed up here for some time, all by my lonesome. I'm sure the intention of that is punishment. No one would even know whether or not I draw breath behind these bars, behind that door. Not for days, no. And I wager you'll be hot on the heels of Ethelward by then, making your way to Viridian. It'll be months before anyone knows what you've done. And he just stares at you, this unspoken dare in his eyes.
For what seems like an absolute eternity, Sirocco stares back into his eyes, and without breaking eye contact, Sirocco reaches inside his vest and pulls out a hidden dagger, and swiftly and deftly slides it in between Korvak's ribs, where it finds his heart. And as Korvak realizes what has happened, Sirocco will say to him, "You called my work sloppy. Well, perhaps there is some truth to that. But my work is not yet finished, and I cannot have you getting in the way of that."
As you let him go and he stumbles back in the cell, just blood spurting from his chest and falling out of his mouth, he looks at you, shocked, amazed really that you did what you just did, and he just sputters, You weren't supposed to." And then he'll fall onto his knees and then just clatter to the side and slump to the ground, dead.
And it takes a second for Sarako to really realize what has just happened, that he hasn't breathed since he stopped speaking to Korvak. And he wipes a bit of sweat off his brow, takes a moment to compose himself, and after stealing his resolve, he walks out the door, back to the front of this outpost, and he finds Iris outside, conversing with the guards.
Noticing you emerge, Iris will nod to the guards and then walk over to you, saying,
But it will be days until the city even comes to look at him, imbeciles. Still, he is ours here. Safe and sound down below, I take it?
Yes, no problem.
Good. Then I am tired. It has been a long day. Longer for you, I am sure. Without any further ado then, shall we?
and she'll open a portal.
Very good. I have gotten what I came here for.